So Larry just tweeted this really timely tweet. So I wanted to share something that I've been looking into a little bit. It's this idea of challenging how we have the folder structure, basically, in a CosmWasm smart contract. You may have seen like CW template, and that has like a contract.rs, state.rs, stuff like that. I also saw recently that Larry had a little bit of a different approach here, pretty similar, but like broke out the like query and execute. This takes it like a teeny bit further without so crazy that people have to memorize a whole new like framework or anything. So if you look here, these three files aren't going to be very interesting. lib.rs, errors.rs, and state are going to be quite similar to the convention we're used to. Then we have this messages directory, and each of these for the different entry points are going to be in their own file. This might reduce merge conflicts. Entry points is another directory here. Execute, instantiate, query, these are the typical ones. Other ones may have like migrate, reply, etc. So execute is just a really short file. You don't actually have the implementation to each method. Each method is in its own file. So if I'm going to go inside here, we will see that I am now in set value. Each of these executes are going to just have one method to execute, and it is going to only take care of this one. One thing that I like about this, and one of the big reasons to do this, is IDE ergonomics. For instance, it's like shift, and you can just quickly like find a method. So if I know that I'm trying to call set value, then this will be like, oh, set value.rs. It's like, yes, thank you. It's kind of a pain. Otherwise, you have to go inside the contract.rs, search for fn execute, look inside of there. It would be really great if we could just quickly get to the function that we know we're trying to call. Now let's take a look in the cargo toml. In particular, we're going to go down to this section. Schema is something I should point out here, as it calls bin make schema, this up here. And the reason why I am doing this is a lot of smart contracts that I find, I'm trying to understand how they work, and I see that there's this examples folder, and I'm like, yes, an example. And then you go in there, and it's actually just a schema.rs file. And so it's like, let's maybe do something different. I was thinking instead of an examples directory, have schema maker and just put that file in there. But then it needs to be a binary. So this actually doesn't bloat the contract size or anything. This is just a nicety. It will still output the JSON schema to the same place as the other one in the schema directory. Now up to cargo config. This is a helpful file when you have aliases in here, because then you can just type CosmWasm and it does all this stuff for you. These four are new, and we'll be doing the run script from the cargo toml that we saw earlier. So this means that to make the schema, it's just cargo schema, and then that does the run script, and then that will call this, allowing us to not have the examples directory and have just sort of a more readable code base. One potential drawback, I don't really like having these mod files around, but my IDE has been very smart about it. When I add a new method, for instance, it will automatically say, do you want to attach this to your project? And when I added toggle, for instance, it automatically, for me, included it at the top of the execute.rs, which is where it should be. So it seems like we're working with our IDE here. It's possible that messages should actually go inside entry points too. I'm not really sure about that. But when I see things like this, where every single one of the queries would have query, right? Or in here we have execute is going to be here, execute is going to be here. Maybe a little bit tempting to say, okay, this should just be like, you should make a trait. I feel like that's actually adding more complexity. Like, I don't want smart contract developers to have to learn one more thing. So that's kind of a concern, is how do we have like a good pattern, but like don't make a full-blown framework. So anyway, this is just a stab. It'd be fun to see if people have like thoughts about how this could be better.